Hello. The topic for this lesson is orthogonal projections. So let's begin with a brief overview of the lesson. In the last lesson, we talked about the orthogonal projection of a vector y along the direction of a vector u. So that's a vector y over here, that's u, and you want to project y along u, so you kind of drop a perpendicular over here, and then of course you get a kind of residual vector over here, which is perpendicular to u itself. Okay, now we also talked about representing y in terms of an orthogonal basis. And what you can then do is to represent y as a linear combination of the elements in the bases. But the nice thing was that the weights in this linear combination are given by a very simple formula, namely simply take a dot product of y along each vector in the basis and divide by the square of the norm to make sure everything is set to length 1. So the question is, what happens if you don't have the whole of Rn? So over here you had n vectors in Rn. The question is, what happens if you have less than that? And that's the notion of a subspace. So in this lesson, we'll talk about orthogonal projections onto a subspace W of Rn, where this W is not the whole of the space. Okay, so as a definition, so suppose you have a set of p vectors in Rn, where the p could be anywhere between 1 and n. Then what you can do is take all the linear combinations of the elements of that set, and what you then get is the span, and this span is called the subspace generated by the set S. Now, as soon as you define this subspace W, you can also talk about the vectors that are orthogonal to all the vectors in W, and that is called the orthogonal complement of W. Okay, so with that, let's take an example. So here is a set U1, U2, just two elements. And notice that if you add the x, y, and z over here, you get 0 in both the cases. So 1 plus 2 minus 3 is 0, and 2 plus 3 minus 5 is 0. So in other words, the subspace over here is the plane x plus y plus z equal to 0 in 3 space. Now, if you take the vector 1, 1, 1, that's like a normal vector, like a perpendicular vector, then it indeed is perpendicular to both u1 and u2. It's orthogonal to both of them. So you have a notion of a w over here and a w perpendicular, w perp as it's called over here. Okay, so with that simple introduction, we can now talk about the orthogonal decomposition for a subspace. So suppose you have a set of p vectors again in Rn, where the p lies between 1 and n, and suppose you take the span of that set and take a vector y in Rn, then this y will have an orthogonal decomposition in terms of its subspace. You'll have two components over here, a y hat, which kind of lies in W over here, and a z, which is kind of perpendicular to W. Okay, and this over here, y hat, can be computed by simply taking the dot product of y along each vector, dividing by the square of the norm. And so it's the same result as early on, but now you only have p vectors, not n vectors. And once again, you can use the projection function to work out each term over here. And the vector z, as you can see over here, is just y minus y hat. Okay, so as an example, here is a pair of vectors. They are orthogonal. Take another vector in R3. So you have two vectors in R3. Let's compute the orthogonal projection onto the subspace. Let's check the answer with the projection function. So you do projection along the first direction, projection along the second direction, and then what you get back is just the same result. And if you compute the residual vector z, then it indeed is perpendicular to both u1 and u2. Okay, now what happens is that sometimes the vector y might actually belong to W itself. In that case, the projection of y onto W is y itself. There's nothing to project really. So for example, here you have two vectors u1 and u2 just like before. They are perpendicular, orthogonal, and you take a linear combination of u1 and u2, so you have a vector that belongs to the same subspace. It's in the span. And if you try and compute the projection, you actually see that it's equal to the original vector. And if you do the z computation, then you just get a 0 vector. In other words, the distance of the vector y from subspace is 0. It's in W, so distance is 0. Okay, the question now is, why are these orthogonal projections so important? Well, if you have a subspace of Rn and your vector y in Rn, then the orthogonal projection is in fact the point in W that's closest to y, in the sense that if you do the difference of y and y hat and you take a norm of it, the distance, then it's less than equal to the norm from any other vector in W. So in some sense, this y hat is the best approximation to y by vectors in W. And you can see in the picture over here that you have y, your y hat, your v, and this distance over here is the perpendicular distance, so it's shorter than any other distance. So that's the importance of the orthogonal projection. It's used to compute best approximations. So as an example, here is again a similar set of two vectors from early on. They are orthogonal. Take a vector y, compute the orthogonal projection, compute distance between y and y hat, and it's about 17.32. Take any other linear combination, and if you compute that distance, you actually see it's larger than the earlier one. So this y hat definitely gives the best approximation to y. Okay, now the question is, what if you had orthonormal vectors? So now you've got vectors which are not just orthogonal, but they have length 1. So again, you have the span of the set being called W, the subspace, and you again have an orthogonal decomposition, y equal to y hat plus z, but this time the formula for the projection over here is much simpler because you don't need divide by the norm, it's all 1. So all that happens over here is if you have orthonormality, then you get a simpler formula for the orthogonal projection. And again, you can work out the individual terms using the projection function. And once again, the vector z is y minus y hat. So nothing changes except that you actually have a simpler formula over here. So as an example, let's say you have vectors v1, v2. The norms are not 1, although they are orthogonal. So you can normalize them. You can make them length 1. Let's check that. So you have length 1 over here. Once you've done that, you can take a vector y and you can project it along u1 and u2, and you can get the same result using the projection function. So orthonormality is nice because you get simpler formulae, but in the end, the answers are just the same. Okay, so let's summarize over here. We've talked in this lesson about the orthogonal projection of a vector onto a subspace, not on all of Rn. And this projection provides the best approximation for the vector y in terms of that subspace. And later on, after a lesson, we'll talk about finding the approximate solutions for inconsistent linear systems using this notion. But before we do that, we need one more piece of machinery, and that's a so-called QR factorization. So the next lesson we'll talk about the Gram-Schmidt process and the QR factorization. So I'll stop over here. Thank you very much.